If you have a sit-on-top kayak and our standard twin track mount doesn't quite fit on your kayak because you don't have sufficient space for mounting the two tracks, or there's an encumbrance or a cup holder of some sort, we do have a few custom mount options available, and basically it'll be a mix and match, and you'll find the one that will fit your particular kayak. One of them is the plunger mount, also from Ram Mounts. It has the standard hole pattern, and it works with a spline and post. And the idea with this one is that you only have roughly a 2 by 4 inch attachment area on your kayak. And let's say we're here, for example, you would mark that and do what's called a blind install. And we'll talk about what that is in just a moment. Now, keep in mind with this one, it's not on a track, so you don't have that adjustability of the distance from your torso and arms. Very similar one from Ram is their Ramrod deck and track base. A similar footprint, a little bit bigger in fact, but it uses that same hole pattern. So you might choose this option if you're already using this style of mount and you want consistency on your kayak. But the same idea, it installs, and it has to be placed exactly where you need it to be because you can't move it once it's installed. Now, a third, more creative option are the new track handles that Ram has come out with recently. And obviously these could be lift handles for your kayak, but you can use them creatively with the standard base mount. And for example, if your seat is here, but yet you have some sort of ridge or something that's in the way there and you needed a little bit of offset from that, you could attach two of these side by side and then simply put the base mount in there and then add your base post with the right height to get what you need. So you could even do them this way and you'll still be able to use that base as long as it's in the right position for you. Most sit-on-top kayaks are going to require a blind install, and that simply means you don't have access to the inside of the kayak to attach a nut. This particular kayak has a hatch cover that I could lift up and use a screw and a nut, but most of them probably won't have that. And so you'll be doing a blind install. And there will be two methods for you to attach those using a blind install with different types of hardware. One is a well nut and a screw, and you'll be drilling the holes once you've marked them. The well nut goes down in there, the mount goes on top of it, and then you're putting in the screw and you're gently tightening it. You don't want to over tighten it. And the idea with the well nut, which is also sometimes referred to as a compression nut, is the rubberized portion lifts up underneath the underside of the polyethylene and creates a tight seal. And we do recommend that you use sealant as well. So that's one option, in which case obviously you would be finding your spot, marking the holes, drilling, and then adhering it. The other option is to use what's called a self-tapping screw, or sometimes self-threading screw. It has a pointed end that sort of creates the pilot for you. It has wider threads, so it has more grip strength. So those are the two ways that you'll be attaching these custom mounts. The twin track is our standard mount that comes with sit-on-top kayaks, and these other custom mounts are also from Ram Mounts, and I covered how to install them using a blind install. There may be the option of using a rivet. However, I highly recommend that you take the mount with you to the hardware store to see if the particular rivet is going to work. Generally speaking, the well nuts and the self-tapping screws are going to be the best option. As I mentioned, the likelihood of you having a hatch cover or inside access to your sit-on-top is probably pretty low. In most scenarios, you're going to be drilling directly into the kayak on something like this center console here. This one doesn't happen to be near the seat, but you can imagine if it were. And as I mentioned, this standard base mount is 3.5 inches wide, but if your console is only 3 inches wide, for example, I just wanted to show you how I offset the tracks here and then just put the base mount at a slight angle, and that was able to accommodate that smaller space.